do it a couple times. Y'all already awake.
Yeah.
So good morning. Good morning. It's so good to be here with you all. Let me tell you, what wasn't in that bio, or maybe I just wasn't listening, because sometimes I do drift off. But when I ran in 2018 as a first-time candidate, a young black woman from the Mon Valley, against a 20-year incumbent from a family who was deeply entrenched in this region, and everybody was telling me that we could not win. We could not win a state house race centering working class people, centering black and brown and other marginalized people, and we had almost nobody who stepped forward, but UE stepped up first, and they have stepped up ever since. Of what it looks like, despite what anybody else says, not just to center labor, which is important, but to actually center workers. Because I think that sometimes we got to understand the distinction, right? There are a lot of people and a lot of politicians who will center labor, but don't understand what it means to center workers. They'll center the bosses sometimes, even when they don't think, but when it comes down to the actual working class human being behind that, they're not always stepping up in the ways that we need to. But UE has been stepping up for its workers, for all workers, for as long as I have known them. So I want to extend my thank you to you all for all of what you do, for how you show up all over wherever you may be. I know how UE in my community shows up. I know how they showed up against web tech. So congratulations to Local 506-618 for your victory again and again. But you know what? I want to just talk really quickly, because I saw that the theme of the convention is building strike power, right? And the way that I interpreted that is in my own language, is staying ready so you ain't got to get ready. That's right. We got to stay ready so we don't got to get ready. Because there are a couple things that we know. Whether it's 2023 or 1923 or 2033, we know that if left to their own devices, corporations, even a whole bunch of politicians are never, ever going to do what we need them to do unless we are holding them accountable, right?
That's right.
We know that. We know it, we've always known it, and we recognize that that means that we have to know and be deeply acquainted and intimate with what our real power is and what our own power is, and you know what your power is. We know that workers' power lies in worker solidarity. It is in worker courage. It's in showing up, and yes, it's in taking to the picket line when we know that what they're offering us are slave wages and slave conditions.
Yeah.
I'm proud to stand here as a working class congresswoman. And I know we talk a lot about, oh, well, you know, they get rich really quickly. First of all, I ain't never gonna say that I don't want to be rich, because I don't want to be poor either. But what I'm gonna say is that when your working class roots are real, when they're deep rooted, you can't forget where you come from. So there are a couple of things that we need to stay ready with, so we don't gotta get ready with as we are moving forward in our larger labor movement all across this country. Because right now we're seeing unprecedented showings of worker power. But let me tell you, we're gonna get backlash to that. I don't know if you're from Pittsburgh, but here in Pittsburgh, you know, which we call a union town, and we're still organizing unions. Even as we say this is a union town, I'll tell you that we still got nurses and UPMC that are not unionized. We're still fighting for a contract with Starbucks. We're still fighting against Pitt, sometimes even, our biggest university, for worker power. So we're a union town, but we're ever fighting. We're ever fighting. Even when we're not on the picket lines, we're ever organizing. We're ever growing. We're ever having to show up, recognizing who we are working against and who is working against us. Because if you get caught slipping, you will find that your wages have turned stagnant. We'll find too quickly that the conditions that we thought we were going to get by 2025 or 5 years behind. So that's why we have to continue to stand up for all workers, Because what happens to one, what they do to one worker, they'll do to you. What they'll do to a janitor, please believe they'll also do to a nurse. They'll also do to a tradesman. They'll also do to a fast food worker. They'll also do to a bus driver. They'll also do to a sanitation worker. They'll do to a frontline worker. They'll do to an essential worker. They'll do to somebody, anybody who they are allowed to do it to, because power concedes nothing without a demand. It concedes nothing without a demand. So when I think about what we're up against right now, I think about how important it is that we understand what solidarity actually means. Because sometimes solidarity is easy when it's your own folks. It's easier, because I'm not going to say easy because it's never easy to go on strike. I think there's a lot of people, we like to romanticize, strikes. We romanticize worker struggles, but the reality is a struggle is an operative word in that. We know that when our workers go on strike, that there are some workers who might not know where they're going to eat the next day, might not know how they're going to pay their bills, keep a roof over their kids' head. That's where solidarity comes in. That's where education and our organizing comes in. Because while we need strikes, we also need to make sure that we're not leaving a single one of our most vulnerable workers behind throughout them. Because let's be real, these things can go on and on and on. Here in Pittsburgh, our Writers Guild has been on strike for about 8 months. 8 months. People are already finding new jobs because it's been so long. Scads are writing stories and getting comfortable in their new positions. It's almost as if, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. And then when we add that to the Starbucks workers who are still looking for a contract, and we look at how long the Writers Guild has been on strike, and there's no end in sight, and we look at how long the actors may be on strike, and it doesn't look like there's an end in sight. We need to talk about what does it look like as we're leaving up out of 2023, and we're saying that no worker left behind. No worker left behind in any industry. That's what I think we're talking about. How do we build power through strike? Building power through strike. So the last piece that I think that we need, and I think it's important, y'all been doing it, is that you can't even build power through strike if we don't have elected public officials who don't stand with you in solidarity, in real solidarity. In real solidarity. So that's why I want to impart to you with you all that it's important that even as you're building labor movement, we don't have a progressive nation, we don't have an equitable nation, we don't have justice for all until we have a movement that goes hand in hand with labor, with movement, racial justice movement, with electoral politics.
Yeah.
Period. We don't do it. So what I want to encourage, because I know that you all going to do your part. I understand that when the time comes, you're going to take the stand that you need to take. But I want to lift up that there's ways that we can get more support for you. Wherever you live, in whatever locality you live, I'm here to tell you that you can have better than what you have. You can absolutely have better. If you can organize a strike, if you can organize against a web tech, then I know that you can organize against your local politician who has been in power for too long and hasn't shown up for far too long.
That's right.
As one and the same, right? Pittsburgh got stronger when we started to elect people who were actually working class. They told us we couldn't do it and UE stood up. They told us that there was no point of even trying. And not only did UE get one progressive working class woman, they got 2 in one go. And then we built from there. And we've gone from just 2 women state reps to a state rep and a mayor who y'all met earlier, and a new county executive, and a new congresswoman, and new council members, and new people, all levels of government. No, it is not a magic wand. It is not a silver bullet. But what we know is that when push comes to shove, and we're looking at Congress to see, is it you who we should say that we shouldn't authorize a strike for? With the language that we're even using. Are we using language that says, oh, we hope that this gets resolved as soon as possible? Or are we saying, we are going to stand here until the workers get everything that they deserve? There's a difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference. In West Pennsylvania, there was a time where there were no politicians who looked like me, who looked like most of you in this room. When we said the stats, Western Pennsylvania had never had a black woman for the state house. Pennsylvania had never had a woman in Congress. Pennsylvania rarely has working class people, rarely has people who understand that labor and environmental justice go hand in hand, that in fact unionized jobs are going to be the sustainable jobs of now and the future, and that we need to invest in them right now. UE is the perfect example. We are using that people who say that racial justice and economic justice go hand in hand, because we can't say that we care about the economics but not care about the race. We can't say that we care about the worker and not care about the wages. We couldn't say that we don't care about the teacher but we don't care about the student. We had to understand that we had things that go hand in hand, and for too long we were being told that you can't have both, that you can't have everything. Electoral movements matter when we're doing them right. They matter when we're doing them long term and we're investing in them. In Western Pennsylvania, this was the bastion of the blue dog Democrat. And right now, we are going to have the most progressive county that isn't even a super blue county. If we can do it in Western Pennsylvania, where can't you do it? If we can run on the Green New Deal and win in Western Pennsylvania, and win on union rights, and win on racial economic justice, and win on education, and win on progressive values, where can't we do it? We can do it everywhere. So I want to leave you with this. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. While we're talking about how we're going to build strike power, let's make sure that we are doing a whole power map. Where does power exist in every sphere that influences you as a worker? Every sphere, because it's not just the corporate bosses. It's not just the company. It's not just the politician. It's not just the worker who is too desperate to go on strike. It's all of those things at once. And we got to make sure that we are accounting for all of it, because I need you to know that what we're not going to be able to do is win a better world. We're not going to win a progressive, equitable future if our labor movement does not grow. So I want to shout out UE, because I heard that since the last time I've been to a conference, y'all have organized successfully 25,000 people. And let me tell you, we're going to have to organize 25,000 people more a year if we're going to build the labor movement that we deserve. We're going to have to organize 25,000 people per state everywhere we go if we are going to build the worker power that we deserve. If we are going to hold the corporations accountable before they give us the raw deal, we're going to have to organize hundreds of thousands of people everywhere we go. So I hope that you are ready, because your work doesn't stop when you walk out. Because when you are a worker, your work doesn't stop when you walk out. Because we have to organize, and we have to encourage, and we got to bring in new people to our fold. There is a union future all over this country. The United States does not have to remain an outlier, and it will not remain an outlier. I'm here to tell you, we will not remain an outlier. When I look at all of our labor strikes, from Amazon to Starbucks to hospital workers to electric workers to fast food workers, there is a movement in this country that they're not going to be able to stop with their ugly tactics. Gone are going to be the days where they play a video for kids at Walmart and tell them that they don't need representation. We have an opportunity here. There are people, young people, who are fired up, and they are ready to build labor working power. So we got to make sure that we are creating a space for them, not just in our ranks as union leadership and our ranks as political leadership. Everywhere we go, this is our opportunity. So we're going to stay ready, so we don't got to get ready. This is our time to seize. I am excited for your victory, but it isn't the last one, because we know that the next one is coming. The next fight is coming, and so is the next big victory. So I'm here to say, be encouraged, fight boldly, take what's yours, and leave nothing on the table. Thank you for having me.